Hey guys, it's Jen and I am here to show you a fun little tutorial using some Deco foil. I'm going to be using this Fringe border die from Tailored Expressions for a fun little fringe technique. And I'm also going to be using the Deco foil pen with some of the iCraft stencils. So you've seen me use the Deco foil pen in the past for doodling and for doing my own hand lettering. If you're not quite comfortable with that, iCraft has a bunch of stencils with sentiments that you can use for cards or scrapbooking that you can just trace, and it's super easy. So if you're not comfortable with your handwriting yet, this is a great way to do it. I have a free cut file available in my shop, which I will link below, and it will be linked over on the ThermalWeb blog too, that has some basic shapes that are good for doing the technique we're going to be doing today with, as well as a little word that says smile that you could cut out and use too. So I'm going to be using those things. I've got 3 colors of Deco foil picked out. I've got pink melon, champagne, and opal, and those are the 3 colors I'm going to be using because I'm going to be making a scrapbook layout with this photo of my daughter, and I'm going to pick up on the pinks and in the photo, and so I'm going to use these neutrals to go along with it. So let's go ahead and I'll show you the few techniques and then I'll show you the finished layout as well. Okay, so I have some peel and stick toner sheets that I've cut down into strips, and I have my 3 colors of foil that I've just cut little pieces from. You don't need a whole ton for this. And I just cut these pieces so that they would be as wide as they're not quite as long as this die, but that doesn't matter because I'm going to cut them up anyway. So I'm going to foil these 3 pieces, and they're going to give me 2 strips each of this this fringe bit, because I'm going to cut this in half. You'll see what I mean. So what I'm going to do is just put these through my laminator, and I'm just going to do 1 color at a time. I just find it easier to do that. And I'm just going to leave my, this is like the little carrier sheet, so I'm just going to stick that in there and then stick it through my laminator. And then I can pull it out, and you'll see that I've got a nice foiled piece of that toner sheet now. So you can do the die first and then do the foil over it, but I think it's so much easier if you do the foil first and then do the toner. So what we're going to do after that is I've got my die cut machine here. And I'm going to just pull it over so you can see here. And this is that awesome die from Tailored Expressions. And I'm just going to make my sandwich. So I'm just going to lay this on top of here. And then I'll put my other plate on top. I'm going to run this through. Okay, and here you can see I've got my nice little fringed foiled piece. And what I want to do is cut this in half so that I can use I just need 1 side of the fringe piece. So now I've got 2 fringe pieces that you can see. And then you can kind of fluff up the fringe a little bit. So I'm going to do that with all of the colors that I've picked out and make some fringe, and then I'll show you how we're going to put these together. Okay, so here you can see I have some fringe pieces cut. Now I decided not to use the opal that I had pulled out before because it had kind of a silvery look to it. I'm trying to find my little piece here that I cut with it so I can show you. Oh, here we go. So you can see it's very silvery, and I didn't want to mix the silvery look with the gold, so it's really pretty, but I decided not to use it. I also cut some of the fringe pieces out of some scrap cardstock that has like a text print on it, and what I want to do is put the text print on the bottom of the triangle, and I'm just going to fringe this halfway up, and then at the top I'll put some of the foiled fringe. So the way I'm going to adhere that is just by using some of this double-sided tape, and I'm going to put it at the top of my piece of fringe, and then I will just peel off the backing. And then what I want to do is I'm just going to layer it so that it barely touches the bottom, and then I can trim off the excess. And then I'm ready to do another layer. So what would be easy for me to do is to take a whole strip of this adhesive and put it all along the top of this piece of fringe, because that way I can keep placing it down without having to put more adhesive on. So I'm going to go for the next row, and I just need to make sure that this edge comes to the edge of here, and I'm just overlapping it slightly with the previous one. Then I'll just cut off those edges. And now we have this awesome little fringed piece that I can put writing in here, or I can put an embellishment. You could fringe it all the way up. So I'm going to do these other two, and then I'll come back and show you how they turned out. Okay, so here you can see the awesome little fringed diamond shapes, and I just made them all a little bit different. This one has the pink and the champagne, and then some of the printed paper, and then this one just has the gold, and then this one just has the pink. So now I have this word smile, and I'm going to stamp on it, and I'm going to use this Tailored Expressions Pockets and Pages journaling graph. So I've got that texture going on my letters now, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the word congrats on here because my daughter got Student of the Month, and so I just want to put the word congrats on the background. So I'm just going to clean off my stamp real quick. So I decided to go ahead and spritz the word smile, and you can see that I've got it popped up on some 3D foam squares. And before I get that all glued down, I want to stencil the word congrats right below it, and I want to do it before I glue this down, because I want the stencil to be able to lie flat. And so I'm just making a note of where it needs to be, and because I've got the lines, that's easy for me to line up since I have the lines on my background. And so I'm going to do this one right here that says congrats, and I'm going to align it with this line right here, and so I'm just going to make a mark right above where that needs to go. So I just marked that with my pencil. Now I can move these off to the side, and what I've got is my Deco foil adhesive pen. So this pen has like a sticky ink in it, and what you do is you just can trace over the lines from the stencil. This is a great way to do this, especially if you're uncomfortable with your own handwriting. And so I'm just going to use this bit of scratch paper I have off to the side to make sure my pen is nice and inky and flowing, and it is. So now I can go ahead and stick down my stencil, and I'm just making sure it's lined up with that line that I mentioned earlier, and I'm just going to trace the letters here. Really simple, and I'm just making sure that you want to do it slow enough so enough of that sticky ink comes out, that sticky liquid, because that's what's going to make the foil stick to it. And I'm going to use the champagne foil to do this word congrats. And after you have done the letters, you can see that there are spaces that are left that would normally be connected if you had written the word yourself. And you can go back in and connect those if you want to. And so I'm going to do it this time. You just need to get the angle of the lighting right to be able to do that. So I'm just going to do that on the O. Okay, so now I've got that all done. Now I just need to grab a piece of that champagne foil to go ahead and stick on that. So let me grab that. Okay, so you want to wait for the ink, for the liquid to get nice and tacky. And I'm pretty sure that this is ready for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and place that down. Now to adhere this, you need to apply pressure. And you can do that you can do that a few different ways. You can do it by sticking it through an embossing machine. You can do it by sticking it through your laminating machine, or last video that I did, I showed you how you could use a brayer to apply that pressure. And because I have this in the middle of my page, I'm going to take my brayer for today, because I don't want to stick this whole page through my die cutting machine or my laminator. And so I'm just using my brayer to apply the pressure, so that's going to apply nice even pressure. Oops. And there you can see the word. Now you can, this is like kind of maybe a word of caution, but I still like the way that it looks. Let me put this on autofocus for a second. You can see where I didn't quite have enough of that sticky ink flowing for that to get nice and in those lines, but I really like that look. So I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna leave that and let that be how this ends up. And so now I can go ahead and stick down my word smile, and I'm gonna find some embellishments to get this finished up, and I'll show you the finished layout in just a second. Okay, so here's the finished layout. You can see the cute little fringe is on display. We've got our little congrats down here, and then I also added in some blue to tie in with the blue that I made the title, and I just wrote on some of these little diamond shapes here. So it's super, super easy and fun to create. I love the way that the gold foil and the melon foil stand out, and it's something kind of festive, and this is a celebration. My daughter had Student of the Month, and so it's like a congratulatory layout, and I think that it works really well for this. I think it would have also worked really well if I would have done it on a circle and then made it look like a ribbon banner that, you know, like you can see on this little Student of the Month thing. I actually have the certificate here, but I could have made a circle like this with fringe on it and then put two little dovetail banners at the bottom of it, and that would have been a fun look as well. I'll go ahead in my albums and stick this in an 8.5 by 11 page protector and stick this on the back of it so that I can keep both of those intact. And I've just done a little bit, like I said, of journaling here and added a couple of things, some gold stickers and some little word strips to kind of finish that off with some staples because it's for school and I like the office supply look. So I hope that you have enjoyed, and I hope that you'll give that fringe banner technique a try. This die is from Tailored Expressions. It's super cool. I think I'll be using this often. And I also used a stamp set from Tailored Expressions, which is this one is called Pockets and Pages Journaling Graph, which is super cool, and it has kind of that school vibe again. So I thought that worked really well for this. So thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, head over to thermoweb.com/blog. The blog has been revamped and it's new and pretty, and so you should definitely check it out and see all of the awesome fun things that you can do with Deco foil and all sorts of stuff over there. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.